Do you have a boyfriend?
Am I actually answering?
Well,
What?
that's the interview.
What does that have to do with the job, though?
Okay. All right, go to the next question. How many of the 25 either refused to answer or walked out? One of the two.
I would say
If you really want to get the job, then I think a lot of people are going to.
Like if you ask people, hey, are you an above average driver? Above average, meaning that, 51% and above, 95 to 97% of drivers will say, I'm above average. That's the message. Like tough, right? Like these three women, all three of them would be saying like, yeah, I'm not gonna put up with that sexist bullshit thing you do. So like, how bad is it? Is the question really that bad? Is it really a sexist question? Is the question really a problematic? Dude, is that a real problematic question? Because they all answered it. We're going to base our conversation today around a study that was done. They asked people some questions, and then they interviewed. They demonstrated the process, okay? And then they got data from both their responses to questions and then to their responses to the actual interview, the activity that they did, okay? So I think we should do this, and maybe we'll do like Eric and Samantha. Just pull your seats just a little closer to one another, okay? You're gonna be interviewing her for a job, okay? So you're applying for a job, he's the boss or whoever, and he's going to ask you a series of questions. And then we're going to, the question is, how are you going to respond to the questions?
What is your name?
Yeah, you can just pretend it's a real interview. Go ahead, Mom.
I'm Samantha.
Where's your family from?
Half my family's from Mexico, the other half is from the U.S.
It says in your application that you're in college. What are you studying?
I'm studying marketing.
What is your work experience?
I've had one job over the summer in customer service. Other than that,
Do you have a boyfriend?
am I actually answering?
Well,
What?
that's the interview.
What does that have to do with the job, though?
Okay. All right, go to the next question.
So do you live in the dorms at school?
I do.
Just ask the question, bro.
I'm curious, what do you think about having conversations with your coworkers about sex in the workplace?
I don't think that's very professional.
Have you dated?
Wait, the question or having sex with coworkers in the workplace? All right, go ahead. No,
both.
go ahead. Next question.
Have you dated coworkers?
I have not.
Okay, that's it. All right, thanks, y'all. All right. So here, well, nice job, by the way. Nice job. So these people were really curious about the different dimensions of the conversations about sexism. So they were really curious about this. And one way that they wanted to dive into it was saying like, how do you think women would respond to inappropriate questions in an interview process? Because, they were reading information about these types of behaviors among men, mostly. It's also among women, but let's face it, it's mostly among men. And so they wanted to take a look at this, okay? They interviewed 197 women. And they said, if you were asked inappropriate questions, and these were the questions, okay? If you were asked inappropriate questions, how would you respond? And 2/3 of the women said, I wouldn't answer the question. I would just move on. 16 of the 197 women said, I would walk out. I wouldn't even stay for the interview. I walk out. You mean this wasn't a real interview? And like, you would be a candidate maybe to walk out, but you can't walk out because it's a classroom, right? And it wasn't real. So then they conducted the mock interviews on 25 women. So not just like this, it was a mock interview. Like, you know, they brought them into thinking that they were coming to this place and they were going to do an interview, and they walked, and so they imagined that that's exactly what's going on, right? So 2/3 said they would refuse to answer. 16 said they would absolutely walk out. How many of the 25 either refused to answer or walked out? One of the two.
I would say like 20.
20?
Yeah.
Refused to answer or walked out?
Probably refuse.
Okay. Emily, how about you?
I would probably say less because like they might need the job. So
Okay,
maybe
so there's
like
some reason you
10
would say
to
less.
15 would
Okay.
like walk out
All right, okay.
or not answer.
Sam, how about you?
Of 25, I don't know. I think like around like 15 maybe refused to answer, and then like a handful, so like 5 maybe, or like walked out, or like a little less than that.
Okay. Bro, how about you? Eric?
Probably like 5.
Zach, how about you? What do you think?
I'd say maybe 3.
3? Yeah, why are you so you're saying 20. Why 3? Where do you she's saying 20. You're saying 3.
I mean, the way I see it is that if you really want to get the job, then I think a lot of people are going to not have to sit through it, but they're going to have to sit through it so that way they can hopefully do good in the interview and get that job that they've been wanting. And I think that the majority would probably stay.
They would tolerate it somehow.
Yeah, I think they would tolerate it even though they don't want to. But it might. I feel like they feel like they have to.
Eric, how about you? Why do you have such a low number?
Well, I mean, if it says 16 out of almost 200 would say they would walk out, like I'd assume that not many would, like in an actual setting.
Then how many would refuse, though? 2/3 said they would refuse. How many you think of the 25 refused to answer?
Are you saying refused or
Yeah, how
walked
about the
out?
refused? Yep.
I'd probably say like 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay, can you put the next slide up? So it's 0. 0 refused and 0 walked out. It's like nobody, okay? Now, so here's where we're going to start the conversation. The study was done, 17 years ago or so, right? But I can tell you that in spite of the Me Too movement and in spite of anything that you all might imagine that things have changed, they haven't changed. You just got to trust me on this. Things haven't really changed. If we were to do this again, the same results, I am pretty certain, I am very certain actually, would happen. Okay? So now, but that's neither here nor there because we're gonna move forward assuming that. What do you think's going on? Why 0 out of 25?
If it's your dream job and
Well, we never said it was a dream job. We just said it's a job. Let's assume they were recruited to just be part of a job interview. So it probably wasn't a dream job. It was just a job, like working at Wendy's. You know, my first job was at Hardee's, by the way. It's the same thing.
I don't know, like money, like they might need the money.
But let's assume it's even an entry-level job.
They might experience it like everywhere. Why like leave this interview if like I'm just going to go to the next interview and experience the same thing?
I mean, everyone needs to start somewhere. So even if it's just like the entry-level job, like maybe they just are looking to gain any sort of experience, like just working. So I don't know.
So when you actually really refused to answer the first question, right? What was happening in your head besides like, wait, what does that have to do with anything?
Oh, I just was confused because like, I don't know. I've never had that like question being asked in a job interview. So I don't know.
So, right, so you're confused And if you were in the middle of an actual interview, you'd be equally as confused.
Yeah, I'd be like, what does this have to do with the actual job?
Uh-huh. And if you were in an actual interview, if you were one of the 25, we're going to assume that 25 is 25. If they did the mock interview with 50 people, it would probably be 0 out of 50 people actually got up and walked out. Yusra, how about you? Like, what do you think is going on?
I would agree with Emily and Sam. I feel like women are probably used to this now, so at every interview they're going to be asked weird questions like this.
So the assumption is that, yeah, if I go somewhere else, what I'm hearing, yeah, but okay, this is just part of being a woman. And a straight woman, right? Because the study wasn't, hey, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? The study was, do you have a boyfriend, right? So you're saying, oh, okay. What do you think's going on, man? Either of you, yeah.
I mean, I guess any interview's like high stakes. So like when the question came up, they probably just answered like without thinking about it too much.
So, I mean, I do agree with everybody on what they said, but I do see it more of a mental kind of thing. I think there's a lot of things that go on mentally for women when it comes to interviews. And I think the way I see it is that no matter what is going on, they're very determined to see it through the end and try to get that interview as a success and that job.
Human beings overestimate the degree to which we're different than other people, okay? So when we ask people the question, we asked these 197 women the question, and they all said like, oh yeah, 2/3, yeah, I'd walk out, I'd go, I wouldn't tolerate that, I wouldn't deal with it. And then when they actually see them doing it, they buckle, they don't act, they don't do what they say they're gonna do. Like if you ask people, hey, are you an above average driver? Above average, meaning that, 51% and above, 95 to 97% of drivers will say, I'm above average. Are you above average in terms of how much you care for the environment? They did this study with people. They asked them, and like 96% of the people said, yeah, I care for the environment. I recycle, I take care of the environment, I take care of things more than most other people. So we all overestimate who we are and what we are. So women are going to overestimate, like, yeah, that's unfair and that's uncool, and no, I would walk out. Nobody walks out. What does that mean for the fact that everyone is saying they're going to walk out? If we ask men, a similar kind of thing, right? It's like, yeah, you should walk out. You shouldn't tolerate that. It doesn't matter. Everybody does, but women don't. Why are women not walking out? Like, what is that?
When it comes time to do those interviews, I think that a lot of people are determined to see it through and do good in the interview, even if they're presented with questions or concerns that they really don't want to go through and do. But if it's something you really want and it's an interview that you want to do good at, I think that deterministic drive is elevated.
Okay, wait, hang on. Can you go to the next slide? So there's a way in which what I hear you saying is, hang on, me as a man, I have this idea that women put up with sexism in this way. They would put up with this just because they want something more. Like, that's the reason. They want to do well, and they want to get ahead, and they want to do that. That's why they would put up with the sexism. Like, that's essentially what you're saying, right? Like, and what the message for women is that women give one another is, I would never let that happen to me. I'm not saying you're essentially saying that, but that's what comes out. That's the subtext of the message. And then the other thing is, everybody says, I'd never let that happen to me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put up with that. I'd speak up. I would put my foot down. I would never allow that to happen. But then you do. So it's like, yeah, but you do. So why do you? Like, you're telling each other, I would never do that, but you do. I wouldn't put up with that male sexist bullshit. That's the message. Like, tough, right? Like, these three women, all three of them, would be saying, like, yeah, I'm not going to put up with that sexist bullshit. But then you do. Why do you? Because you're telling yourself, I'm not going to, but you do. Right? And what's it mean for the women then who put up with it? Emily, why do women do that when they tell themselves, like, yeah, I'm not doing that?
Well, like, I think that people's actions, like, not just women's, but like what you say you're going to do and what you often do are like two very different things when you're like actually put in the situation. And like, they might almost be desensitized to it, like from like the media and stuff. And like, if they're like getting these comments like outside of the workplace and stuff too, they might not care if they're also getting them in the workplace.
Okay. All right. So somebody else. I want to go on. Somebody else. Sam, what do you think? Like, why do you, man? You could say that. You and your friends, your mom, your aunts, whoever around you, everybody says, like, yeah, I wouldn't put up with that, but you put up with it.
I don't know. I guess you just choke.
So here you are. You're face to face with me doing the interview with you. And I'm looking right at you and I'm saying, hey, do you have a boyfriend? And in your mind, you're saying, what are you saying?
In my mind, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, what? Why is this old creep asking me that question, right? But through your words, you say...
I just answer the question.
You say yes or
I'm
no.
like, no.
And then I say, what do you think about... Hey, so the old creep interviewing you is saying like, hey, what do you think about talking about sex in the workplace? Because, we're pretty loose around here. What do you think about that? And in your mind, you're thinking, a week earlier, you're in Social 119, and you're going like, that's sexist bull. Hell no. But here you are. What do you think about talking about sex in the workplace? Because, we're pretty loose around here. In the classroom. What do you think about talking about sex in the classroom? We're pretty loose around here.
I don't know. It's just, I find it strange, I guess. Like, in the workplace, I'd find it really weird to talk about that. Like,
but you probably would answer, like, I
like,
do or I don't or whatever. You probably wouldn't walk out. Or you probably wouldn't do what you did earlier.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay. But you think you would.
I have no clue what I would do.
But but ahead of time, you would think that you would.
Probably.
And you would think that she would. The two of you would think like, oh, yeah. Oh, all these women in this classroom, they're all going to like probably say like, oh, no way. Oh, hell no, I'm going to walk out. But you don't. Okay? Then you hear the story. Sam comes back to the two of you. And she comes back to you guys. And she says, yo, man, I just did an interview with this guy. And he asked me, what did he ask you? What the guy ask you?
He asked me how I feel about talking about sex in the workplace.
And you'd be like, what the hell? And you would think like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that. But she did. So now what do you think of her? What's wrong with her? She didn't stand up to her feminist laurels.
I would be like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, what do you say more? Like,
I would just be like, why would you answer that? That's clearly weird and unprofessional.
And so what's it say about Samantha?
She doesn't speak up like she said she does.
That says that, what else? What's it say about her?
That she doesn't stay true to her words.
She's weak.
Yeah.
Like what kind of woman? Like, come on, man, dude, you got a whole classroom of women here that are saying that's bullshit, and you didn't do it, and now you got these guys over here going like, so the three of you start talking about all the sexism you experience in the world, right, dude? Can you get that all the sexism? Like they're always talking about sexism from us, right? What do you think about that? Like, do you like want to? Do you believe him?
I mean, I say I do. I'm not gonna, disprove of them. I don't want to get in trouble.
Dude, no, not that. Okay, go ahead. Eric, how about you, man? Do you yeah, they're talking about sexism, but she goes through and just buys into it and answers the question from some creepy old interviewer. So how bad is it? Is the question really that bad? Is it really a sexist question? Is the question really a problematic? Dude, is that a real problematic question? Because they all answered it. So what's their problem, man?
I mean, I think it's definitely a weird question. And it's up to them to deal with it.
Yeah, and they didn't deal with it. So therefore, how weird is it? They answered it.
Still pretty weird, but I can't do anything about it. So
Yeah, you can't do anything about it, and you're a guy, right?
yeah.
Okay, so whatever. So does it make you then so here's a response. You ready? Dudes, if you don't like the question,
Don't answer it.
don't answer it. Dude, is that fair? Fair? You got 3 men over here telling you guys, hey, you women, if you don't like the question, don't answer the damn question. And stop complaining about sexist behavior among men. Just don't answer it. You already said you weren't going to answer it, but you did answer it. So stop complaining.
But if they were put in the same situation, they would probably do the same thing.
Man, listen, don't give us that. Come on, man. No, we're talking about you, right? We're not complaining about it. No, if we were put in the same situation and you guys ask me, go ahead. Ask me, Sam, ask me, you're interviewing me. Ask me the same question.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah, no, I have a wife. Yeah.
And are you comfortable talking about sex in the work?
Dude, I talk about sex in the work. I talk about sex in here. We've had conversations all about sex, my wife and I. It's on the live stream. You can watch the videos. Yeah. So what? You have any other questions? See? What's the big deal? Got it? Yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah. All right.
I don't know. I guess they just feel like maybe that's just me and my culture, I guess. It's very personal questions. So it's just it's not something that I would typically just be talking about to everyone kind of thing.
No, it's it's every culture. Look, first off, you guys aren't going to probably ask us, you're not likely to ask us the same questions. We're not going to get asked the same questions, okay? And they're going to be even not some young guy like this, but some creepy old guy like me is going to ask the questions even. And you're still going to go along with it. When you go along with it, when they go along with that, when you go along with that, then we say, the 3 of us and other women say, well, why is this such a problem? Maybe it's not such a big problem. What's the big deal? If it was a big deal, you wouldn't answer the question. But you did. So therefore, maybe don't complain. Maybe it's not sexism. When that type of question comes up in the moment, it can cause confusion. Yep, it's only after the fact that you discuss it with someone else that you realize that your boundaries have been crossed. Yeah, exactly. Does age have any bearing on who would and wouldn't answer the questions? Probably younger, yes, Mr. Moore. Younger people would be probably much more open to just answering the question, just going through with it. We all agree that something is problematic, okay? That's what the study is. They did this study because the conversation is that this is problematic behavior in a job situation, in an interview situation. Women experience it far more than men do. And if you experienced it, it probably wouldn't even, it'd roll right off you. You just answer the question. And the 2 of you, would you even go home and, would you even remember that somebody asked you those questions? Do you think? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. The 3 of you would go talk about it. Now we got a situation here where you're saying we're trying to move society forward to teach one another about what is and is not sexism. But when the moment comes, you collapse. Yeah? Okay. So therefore, we don't believe you. We don't believe why is it problematic behavior? If it was problematic, you would have said something. We're going to find all these ways. The 3 of us, for sure. And many women are going to try to find ways to discredit that any of this stuff is sexist. Sexism's not really going on. If it was going on, you would respond really differently. But you don't, right? So how do you convince us that this is a problem?
I don't know. That's hard now because now we're not doing what we're saying. So.
And you're not doing what you're saying for sociological reasons. Because in the moment of confusion, everybody chokes, as you said, right? Everybody chokes. Everybody like freezes up in the moment of confusion. We're like, oh, and then we want to normalize things as much as possible. This is racism. It's homophobia. It's everything, right? We all want to pretend that everything is actually okay, that wasn't weird. But it is weird. It's very common, right? And yet, then we want to look for reasons to say, like, hey, this isn't really such a big deal. If it was such a big deal, you'd all walk out. But you don't. Or you wouldn't laugh at it. So now we're stuck. So what do we do? Right? So we're stuck. So what do we do? See, with the thing that you said earlier about like women really, they're going to really push towards something, maybe women have just been socialized to just accept troubling behavior from men, mostly, and other women. But what if that's true? Then what's that mean for you as a man?
I mean, I feel bad, but I don't know. I don't really think too much about that. I do feel bad, though.
What do you feel bad about?
I mean, it's not fair. So kind of empathize with them.
Why do you think you don't think too? Why do you think you don't think too much about it? Hey, just blacken the screen for a second while we get through this. Yeah.
Because like it doesn't really happen to me at all. So, I mean, I don't have women, doing anything like that to me. So I don't like have that kind of connection. So
Okay.
I don't really think about it.
All right, so you don't have to think about it, so you're not really thinking about it. Do one of you have something you want to say? Here's a guy right here who's saying like, yeah, I don't really, I mean, this isn't something in my life, so I don't really think about it. Would one of you have anything to say to him?
What he just said, he recognizes that it happens to women, so I appreciate that. But
But he also said he doesn't really think much
Right.
about it.
well, if I was a man, I don't think I would think about it either, because what he said, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're not. You're a woman.
Right.
Does this stuff bother you? This kind of stuff?
No.
This kind of sexism
well-
stuff?
I would say it's me personally. I don't get as heated, but it's
Have you been told that you're going to face this stuff
yes.
in your life?
Yeah.
How's that for you? That you're going to face it? Wait, tell him what you've been told. Tell these two men right here, young men. Tell them what you've been told.
I've been told that I can't do things because I'm a woman. When I grow up, I have to act a certain way and talk a certain way, dress a certain way, walk a certain way.
Are you told that you're going to have to tolerate a certain amount of troubling behavior?
Yeah. I've been told that wherever you go, there's going to be men that are better than you. So you have to deal with it because you're...
Or who think they're better than you.
think they're better than you, yes.
And men who are going to look at you and make comments to you and say
Right.
things to you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and what should you do as a result of that when that happens?
You
Ignore
just,
it?
You just ignore it, just push to the side.
Dude, how about you? Do you have Emily and Sam? So here you got these two guys. Are you in the same boat, by the way, as your buddy Zach here? That like you don't experience this.
Yeah.
Do you think about it? How often do you think about it? Use the mic.
Not really at all.
Not at all. Dude, this is beautiful. You two guys, we got these two young men up here who don't think about this at all. So now you get a chance to think about it. What have you been told, by the way?
Well, I'm like a STEM major. So like we're constantly told that like in like the workplace and in like our majors and in like just life in general that we're going to be like looked down upon because
You're going to be under the microscope.
yeah. And like you just can't let it get under your skin. You just have to like show them that like you can do the same work.
You can do the same work, and are you told that you have to tolerate a certain amount of it?
I mean, yeah, like because you're not going to change everyone's like viewpoint like in the real world. So like you're going to have to tolerate it if you like are truly passionate about like a STEM major. Like as a woman, you're going to have to tolerate it.
Okay. Sam, how about you? What have you been told?
I don't know. Mostly just what's already been said about like if you get comments that are like sexist, just brush them off, kind of thing. Ignore it. Yeah. Just keep
Ignore it.
going. Like, forget about it.
It's kind of cool, right? In a way, that you got these 3 women here who are saying they're socialized that they're gonna experience this troubling behavior from people like us. Okay, they're gonna be automatically considered, depending on who they're working with or against, that they're gonna have to be smarter and really work a little bit harder because so many people like us are gonna kind of look down on them at some level. That's what they've been taught, right? And then each one of them said at some level that they've been told that you just gotta let it like wash off their shoulders, like water on a duck. Is that awesome or what? For you guys, like you don't have to take any responsibility. You don't have to do a damn thing. You're just like, yeah, okay, get on with your lives. This is it. It's a man's world, I guess. Still, like it's kind of cool, right? In a way, you don't have to do it. You don't think about this stuff. You don't worry about it. Just get on with life.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like cool, but like, I guess I'm more fortunate than them that I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, definitely. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Are you more fortunate than them?
I don't know.
That's a question. You don't have to think about it. This is the conversation, because it's still real. It's still happening everywhere, right? It's still happening. Dude, listen, Emily's a STEM major. She's told all the time, you're going to face this stuff throughout your career. You're not told that.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I don't really think about that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, Emily.
Yeah, but okay. So these 2 guys here, they feel, oh yeah, that's not fair. How's that? Are we changing things? You feel like we're making progress here?
I mean, like, the only progress that can be made is like internally. Like, you just have to like know not to do it yourself, not to make comments.
Okay. All right. Yusra, how about you? Are you feeling like we're making progress? Because these guys represent men. These are average men. Dude, I could bring down to the front men who are thinking about this stuff all the time, and they're going to have a very different perspective. And they're gonna talk, and they're gonna be, yeah, man, I'm in this. I took this women's studies class. This is like, I got this down. Like, yeah, this is bullshit, and this is happening everywhere, and I'm part of this. There was like there have been a couple men's groups on campus, and we're really working to end sexism on campus among men, and yeah, we got that. But you don't have that. These are just 2 average bros. Okay? And you're 3 average women. And it feels like there's a big chasm between us. And it feels like business as usual. And you all got to convince the world that this stuff is still happening, but it's really hard to do.
We're stuck again because it's going to take a lot of hard work for every man to realize what they just realized.
Well, it's also going to take a lot of hard work for women to realize why other women don't do what you think you would do.
Yes.
The next time a woman says, man, I was at a bar downtown and this guy came up to me and grabbed me on my rear end and you're like, oh, what'd you do? No, nothing. I just kind of turned around and just pushed his hand away and walked away. Sam, that's Yusra. She just told that story. She's at a bar, even though she's underage and 18. She was at a bar downtown. She just told a story. She didn't do anything. She didn't turn around and slap him. She didn't jack him in the face. Nothing. She turned around and just like kind of laughed a little bit and pushed his hand away. So what do you think about her? Is she really serious about these issues?
I don't think that the fact that she just brushed his hand off like means that she's not serious about it. Like she could still be serious about it. I don't know. Maybe
so why'd
she
she
was
brush his hand away and why didn't she confront the guy?
maybe scared of like any repercussions or anything like that could happen afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, something, right? But this is part of it, right? We live in this world where other people aren't acting in the ways that we think we would act. And so therefore, we don't believe them. Like it must not be a big problem because you didn't do anything.
This actually happened in real life.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was at a party, and this guy, like, came up behind me and was, like, touching me. I turned around and, like, pushed him off, and then he did it again, so my guy friend knocked him out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And how'd you feel about that?
I was like, thank God he was there, because I wouldn't have known how to react.
You wouldn't have known how to react.
I wouldn't have punched him.
How'd you feel?
I felt, like, uncomfortable. I turned around and I was like, buddy, what are you doing? And then, thank God he saw my guy friend, so he knocked his teeth out.
Yeah? This is the stuff, right? Like we don't want to get to that level, but this is where it's at.